We are live. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of Respect the Craft. This is episode number 108, and I'm joined by a very special guest here. He is hailing all the way from a dumpster behind an IHOP. He is currently as of today, the longest reigning SWA Pride Heavyweight Champion. He is my good pal, the amazing Pancakes. How's it going, brother? What's up?
Hey, it's pancake time. What's going on, brother? How's everything?
It's good, man. It's good. Now happier to have you on here. It's time to have a fun combo here. We got pancakes. It's time to party.
Absolutely. Oh, it's the pancake party, brother. You know, the pancake party don't stop until the bodies drop. You know what I'm saying?
There you go. But Pancakes, before we get into the party mode here, before we keep it going, I have to ask you the question I ask everyone that comes on. You heard the name of the podcast. It's called Respect the Craft. So when you hear that term, the craft, what does that mean to you?
The craft. Well, that term I've heard a lot throughout my career where they call it, the craft, where, when I first started training back in 2006, we were taught that, you treat professional wrestling as if it was a legit job. You're going to training as in you're going to work. You're wrestling on a show, you're going to work. The word craft to me, it means occupational type, it's more occupational. If you treat it as your occupation, it's going to be your occupation eventually. If you make it that way, So when you think of the word craft, you think it's your legit job. You go to school to do it. You train hard to do it. You pick it up as it could be like a second nature at points. So if that's what a craft is, it's almost like second nature from repetitive training and discipline and stuff like that. It takes a lot, to be a wrestler. It takes a lot of dedication and a lot of self dedication to the business, to the craft, and there you go. So
Gotcha. No,
that's what
definitely
I said.
So let's talk a little bit about that. Let's talk about you finding that and having that respect for the craft there. What was it that got you in to want to become part of the business? What was it that got you to decide, you know what, I want to put on the boots and I want to get involved in this?
Well, I'm actually really happy that you asked me that question because, by the way, I just want to let you know and everybody out there know, if I'm not looking directly at you or into the camera, this thing is so weird. So it won't let me turn it, so I can't. It's like it's weird.
It's all good. Hey, as long as how it looks on video, it kind of looks like you're looking to the left of me, so it works. It looks like you're looking right at me. Just
if I look off into the distance, I feel like I'm like, like if I'm George Washington on like a boat, like, that kind of crap.
Hey, as long as everyone can hear you, we're all good.
Ahoy, silver, away! Anyway, well, when I first got into wrestling, I was actually, I remember, because it's so weird. I said this to my fiance the other day. I said, you ever get those vivid memories that you can't put your finger on, but you eventually realize later on in life what it really was, because then you see it throughout, your life, and you just try to figure it out. The old school WWF symbol from the 80s into the early 90s is something that I grew up watching, and I couldn't remember what that memory was until I was just like, oh, wow. So wrestling has just been around in my life since I was like, I had to have been like two years old, because I would watch Monday Night Raw, with my dad, and later on in life, my parents got divorced and stuff like that. So she ended up seeing a guy who also liked wrestling. So me and him would sit in the living room, and every Monday night was always Monday Night Raw night. Every Friday night was a SmackDown night. Sunday night was Heat, or pay per view, um, and back then, I mean that was coming right out of the Goldling into attitude, into pre-attitude, and then into attitude era, and I grew up watching all of that with Hogan and Austin. I was a WWF guy. I didn't really pay too much mind to WCW or ECW. I was a WWF guy. But that's just really because that's what interested me, especially from the fact that when I was a kid, I was teased a lot, at school. I have ADHD. I was diagnosed as a kid when I was ADHD, and it was back then. Mental health wasn't really a thing, not like how it is now, but like it was kind of like untreated to a point where it's like stick me a Ritalin or don't stick me a Ritalin. It's your choice. But I feel like pro wrestling, growing up with it in my life, it was just like when you don't have friends, those people who you see on that TV screen every Monday night, Friday night, Sunday night, you're going out to hang out with your friends, and you just so happen to be at home watching Monday Night Raw, and those are your friends. You get to know those people, emotionally, and when Stone Cold broke his neck, it's like, holy crap, we haven't seen Stone Cold in so long. You miss him, and you wish he was there. And then when he comes back, it's like you haven't seen your best friend in so long, and you're so excited to see him. That's what happens. That's the type of relationship that you build as a fan into a fan to a professional in the business. So that's what really got me wanting to join the business. Because that made me feel like, what, they were there for me in that form. I want to do the same thing for somebody else, for that little kid that, people have told that, you wouldn't be able to do stuff like that. You can't, you really can't do anything like that. I was also fighting. I was also very, very big. I was a very big kid. So I was, when I was about 15, I think I reached my biggest at almost 500 pounds. I was a big guy. And the doctor told me that, and my mom, that if I didn't get any type of help, that I was going to probably die at like the age of 23. And when that happened, that's when the doctor suggested we do some sort of like weight loss surgery, gastric bypass. So that's what we did. We set me up with the neurologist and this, that, and the other, the whole 9 yards, and we got the surgery done. Lost a whole ton of weight. By the time I was like 17, I was the smallest that I've ever been in my life. But then, due to a lot of different things, later on in life, I gained it all back. But I started training when I was 17. I had my first professional match when I was 18. But just having those experiences as a fan and as a kid, watching those guys, entertain me and make me go ooh and ah and yay and nay and fuck you and stuff like that. That's what drove me to want to be a wrestler, because I wanted to be able to influence somebody's life just as much as they influenced mine.
Got you. No, and that definitely, hearing that story, I can definitely see now why, especially the character you are, how you are in that ring, and how the performance you bring, it makes a lot more sense now, and it adds to why you are the personality you are, and you have that vibrance when you come out. It truly is a party, no matter what promotion, no matter what match. it gives that vibe.
You know, it's funny because it took me a while to realize that Pancakes is my character, is somebody who I really am. Because when I was in the beginning stages of my career, I'm a Draven. You know, just another generic. Yeah, yeah. If you want pictures, I got pictures. You know, it's funny as hell. That's when I had hair. You know, and when
Okay.
I that's it's that old. You know, I started the name Draven. I was part of a very short-lived tag team called Dead on Arrival. I was tag teamed with this guy that I started training with, who I knew from like high school, who we were like friends, and we had a falling out. But anyway, um, later on, I realized that, you know, I don't think that this is, you know, I'm not getting any work. I'm not, you know, nobody's taking me seriously, and this, that, and the other. I was just another, you know, fat guy in eyeliner with leather pants. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, how many guys do you see that in a locker room? It's like you can get 7 of those, you know, for free. But, you know, there was nothing that was going to like you know, make me different from anybody else in, you know, that would, you know, want to invest their time and their money in me. You know, nothing special, you know. So I feel like Pancakes, I actually, believe it or not, I mean, I'm coming into my 18th year in the business, and I have only been Pancakes for, I want to say, a little over 10 years. So for the rest of such a battle of who can I, you know, who am I, you know, what am I,
Yeah.
you know, just trying different things, but still being active, but still trying to work out like, who am I, you know, what am I, what's going to make a promoter, a booker, somebody look at me and say, you know what, I can make some money out of him. And at the same time, he's going to make some money. And, you know, at the same time, you know, my fans are going to be happy. They're going to want to come back. And, you know, I always looked at it like this. If you can't, if you can't put your name on a marquee and sell people, you know, sell tickets with, you know, with just your name, instead of, you know, trying to, you know, do what you got to do, you know, it's a different world. And it's hard. It's a very hard world, this business. And I, you know, in the beginning, when I first started, I didn't realize how hard this business was, because we didn't have social media at the time. We didn't have social media, so it was so extremely hard. And we were during the early stages of when wrestling schools were so scarce. It was like, mind your P's and Q's. You know, it's like you didn't know where to go or how to get there or where they were. They were like all secret little hiding houses and stuff like that. You know, mine was a warehouse, and then we transferred from the warehouse to a church, you know. So it's, you
I
know,
was gonna ask,
um,
who were you training by? Was it Mikey, or was it someone else?
no, the guys that I was trained by, they were they were former wrestlers. One was Johnny Ova. The other one was Carmine Azzato, who also went by Demolition Blast, and who we were also with connections with Bobby Rydell at the time, who was also involved with what we called was the wrestling ministry. We also called it Pro Wrestling Revolution, which was the company's name when we started doing actual pro shows. Our first show, it's funny because I was looking at my stuff. I came across one of my old flyers. It was actually the flyer that it was actually my first show, and I remember it because it was me and my tag team partner versus 2 other gothic dudes who thought, you know, it was crazy. It was a fun match, but it was a drizzling shit. It was nothing to be proud of whatsoever. But I mean, I was proud of it because it was my first match, and I've never done it before, so this is my first thing into it. I didn't know where I was going to go after it, so and I was very surprised. But it's funny because my first day of training as a professional in professional wrestling, we just ran 10 laps around the building, and we weren't allowed to stop. If we stopped, then we had to do an extra lap. So it was pretty hard, but that's why, it was old school wrestling training. We, trying to weed out the weak and, see who's going to, go through, go forward. So like we started, we just did our 10 laps. We go back inside, we do about 150 squats. And then we do something called chic ups. We do about 5 of them. About do 5 chic-ups, which is a push-up, a sit-up, and a squat. And then you got to do the amount, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, that kind of deal. Did have a bunch of those, and it was my first time. This is my first, and I'm just sitting there like, holy fucking shit show. There ain't no fucking way I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do all this cardio, and I'm not going to shit my pants. And I went in there.
Getting in the ring, too.
Oh, hell, dude, we weren't even allowed in the ring until we did all this. Like, I wasn't allowed in the ring until I hit a certain point, in my training. So that was kind of like, in the way that they treat us, being in the ring is a privilege. And that's how it was stuck into me. It's a privilege, being in this business is a privilege. Being successful in this business is a privilege, and it's hard work, but it's also a privilege due to the fact that you got to earn the respect of your peers, your fans, your the people who help support you, the people who help build you up. That's why there's a lot of people that I would never I can't not give thanks to, but we'll get that. We'll talk about that later.
No, definitely. So let's go from that, because again, I can imagine finding, especially starting out training, then finding at least at the start what the character is going to be, and then that evolution process. Talk to us a little bit about that, because of course, for anyone that watches the podcast, I have to do my digging a little bit. I have to find some pictures here, so I picked up this one here. So talk to us. So,
oh boy,
this where are we at career wise here? Because you have some gold. So where are we here, and how long are we now evolving into here?
Oh wow, that was that's great. That was me. That was the Draven 2.0 phase when I started forming with a tag team with a guy. I'm sure everybody knows him. He's the icon, the legend, Andrew Magic Morgan.
Hey,
him and I were.
I was going to ask about that a little bit as well. Like, how did that pairing go? Because that's a legend right there.
I love him.
Magic right there.
I love him. He is my teddy bear. I wish I saw him more often. I would love to try to get him up here in New York. There's a couple of people I want to talk to get him up here in New York, because he, if it wasn't for Magic, he taught me more about this business than, in my opinion, more than my own trainers were at the time, because he was on the outside. He wasn't somebody who came from the church and was training us, because they all, those guys who were training us, Carmine and Johnny Ova and Bobby, those were the guys who also went to that church, who were very involved with that church. And that's good, great, grand, and wonderful, but you're not really giving us a better view of how this business is ran, and how harsh it really is. You're just beating us up, just kicking our ass in cardio. But Magic, he came in, and the first day I met him, I was just like, oh man. So he's like out on the outside. He came from, he was one of the original ECW guys. He helped train. He did train Dawn Marie. if you remember correctly, that lady was very famous. Um, but that he's influenced a lot of guys in this business, a lot of successful guys in this business, and I thank God every day that I got to meet that man in my lifetime, because not only I feel like he's a good friend, even to this day, even though we don't talk on a regular basis, I look at it like this: we're all adults, we're all people who have lives. We don't have to talk to each other on a regular basis to be friends. I love that man to death, and to the day I die, you know, I add him to the list of guys who I owe my career to, just for the knowledge that he passed on to me, just being my tag partner for that amount of time, and giving me that shoulder to kind of like lean on when I need him to, when to be honest with me, and to pretty much guide me through being who I needed to be at that time. And later on in that time, we became a legit tag team. We were the Wrecking Crew. We were the very first PWR tag team champions. We beat Justin Cage and Jason Static for those tag team championships. And when that day happened, I was the most excited kid in the world. And he's sitting there, he's like, good, all right, So, and that's just, he took that belt, just put it in his bag, and said, let me just put in the rest of the belts that I have in the back of my trunk. He he I love that man to death. Oh man, thank God for him. But that tag team, we were the Wrecking Crew. Probably we had such great matches, me and him. We did this balloon festival, which was a huge festival. We wrestled in front of like almost at least 1,000 people, just surrounding the barricades and the ring and stuff like that. We had guys like John Heidenreich on the show. We had Dawn Marie on the show, Brutus Beefcake, guys like that were on the show. And him and I, we had a really nice tag match between this guy named Brimstone and Demolition Blast, and it was probably the best big man match that you'll ever see in a long time. Old school big man match, and it was pretty brutal. I went through a table and stuff like that. I got a picture of that if you want that too.
Hey, again, I told you I do my research. Anyone that knows, especially the biggest I always pop is Monster Mac. When we used to do our podcast together, I would try to find the oldest pictures I can, because I know there's a story to it. There's always a great story to it. But before we keep going with the stories, I don't know if you got to read the comments there, but Johnny Malloy is coming at you here. The bearded villain himself he's calling you a big fudge monkey, and he's talking about toilets now. He loves you. You said you guys wrecked the toilets.
He knows me so well. He knows that I love fudge. He knows, it's funny. He knows that I'm fat, and that's a good friend, So, it's funny. I was not paying attention to any of that because, I'm on cloud 17. I'm like 3 in right now of, happy juice. Hope you don't mind.
No problem. Again, I would join you, but unfortunately, I have to push buttons, so I'll stick with my water for now.
Nah, it's all right. Don't worry. You know what? I already toasted for the two of us. Don't you worry.
Man. Well, here we go. Now he says, "You're a hard world." I don't know what that means.
I'm you son of a bitch. Anyway,
let's keep going with the story here, Ron.
Yeah, definitely.
We're on that evolution now.
I have plenty of things to say about him, but I'll save that for later. Definitely.
So let's go from that. Now we're going from you're getting to team with Magic, you're holding championships with Magic. So from there, how does that evolve you into finding, again, how do we get to Pancakes now? How do we get from Draven all the way to Pancakes? Tell us that mindset evolution and what got you to decide this is who I want to be, or this is who I am really.
Okay, so this is how we go from here to there. So I'm Pancakes. later on. But when I was tag team champions, first time in my life I ever had a title in my career. I was tag team with an awesome dude. We're months in. We do that big show. We get, we lose our championships eventually, but we still run through. And then the company ends up closing, and the school ends up shutting down. So at that point, there's no students, there's no shows, there's nothing. So, and that's what sucked about being involved with that type of school was everything was done by them. We didn't really have the opportunity, nor did they really give us the opportunity to like move out, and forward in the world of wrestling. They were always like, very, I don't know if you would call it protective or overprotective of their students, where it's like, these are our guys, not your guys. You can't use them, blah, blah, blah. They're going to be exposed to the business and we don't want them to get hurt and this, that, and the other. And I can get where they were coming from to a point. I love IHOP, John. But I can understand where they came from to a point, but like that was in the long run kind of hurting us because it made it extremely hard for us to try to get a booking outside of there because we wouldn't know where to go. So the only guys that we would go after that was Victory Pro in the early days, when it was ran by Donnie Bon Jovi. Great dude. Sean was an awesome guy.
I've heard a lot about that, especially the old school days of VPW. But shout out to Victory Pro Wrestling, especially now. It's a new management, but hey, it's still hanging strong. So shout out to VPW. I'm an intern at VPW right now, so shout out to those guys.
Yeah, they're cool. They're cool guys. They're cool guys over there. I worked for them for a little while. Difference of opinion, and I wish them the best of luck because they're doing awesome right now. Great for them. They got Cade Lovebrook over there. They got Alvin Alvarez over there. Great for them.
No. Here we go. Johnny Miller just keep going. He keeps it going here. It says 4 laps, 2 squats, and then a Snickers bar.
Is this considered harassment now?
Well, it might be to someone. So someone might take this as harassment later on.
I'm just happy someone's having fun with the comments. So at least
we have people watching, but Johnny Malloy is the only one commenting here. We have people watching.
Hey, man. Anyway, so the company closed. We had nowhere else to go. We went to VPW, but I wanted to work more. So I as I said, that was very scarce because the Indies wasn't really as big in New York at the time. So just trying to find places to work was scarce. At the same time, just going through a lot of personal issues and stuff like that. Just kind of like took some time away from wrestling for maybe about a year and a half for me. Just dealing with some personal demons. It was a rough time, but I pushed through it, and then I realized, and then I realized, you know what, I want to get back into wrestling. I want to get back into it. I want to get in there, and then I hooked up with Gino Caruso later on. And he gave me an opportunity to kind of work with him. And then I also worked with a guy named Rocky Hahn, who owned a ring and owned a building. And so he allowed me to go in there and roll around and trying to get myself back into shape. And I was at this point, I was at my heaviest. I was 495 pounds. But like at the same time, I gained all that weight back. It was a terrible time, but you know what? I kind of like felt like, you know what? Let me try to like make this into something. Let me like kind of like work with it. So I changed my name from Draven to I call myself Cronus. like the Greek Titan, Cronus, yeah, type of deal. I wore a onesie. It was horrible. Should have never done it. But hey, it was a comfortable onesie. It's funny because I still have it like tucked away somewhere, and I was looking at it one time, and I was just like, how the hell did I fit in this thing? The thing I like, if I was to put that on now, I could fit my whole body in the one leg.
I was gonna say that's gonna be for like an anniversary show. Be like, you know what? Time to put the onesie back on.
Oh, you don't want you try are you trying to empty out the building early, or but that during that time it didn't really work out still. I mean, I was getting some bookings here and there. But I realized, you know what? I need to just stop trying to be so goddamn serious. Because when you try to take this business so seriously instead of trying to figure out how to have fun with it, but still take it as seriously as you need it to be, because I'm not saying don't take it seriously. I'm saying like when you're in there, have some damn fun. Get the crowd involved. You got to be loosen up. Stop trying to be such a stiff. I know it can be intimidating when you walk out there with everybody watching you and the camera's shining and the lights are blazing and everybody's staring at you for a long period of time, judging your every single move of everything that's going on within your life, and everything is just going through everything. A little thing in your mind is just, you get it? You got it. All right. No, but it could be very, very hard. But you got to loosen up. You just got to have some fun with it. So that at that point, I was just like, you know what? I'm going to do something. My shoot job, I am a chef. I'm an actual chef. And I've been a chef for the past 15 years. I said, you know what? I'm going to do something different. I'm going to put on a hat. I'm going to put up a chef coat. I'm going to cut the sleeves off. I'm going to buy myself a giant spatula. I'm going to put a chef hat on. I'm going to put myself out there as, I don't know, Chef Pancakes. Why the hell not? My very first booking as Pancakes was NYWC Firestorm in Coram, New York. You can find that match on YouTube. It's hilarious. And I never thought in a million years that I would wrestle the way I did, when all I was really doing was just dancing and having a grand old time. I was loose. I was having fun. I was like, you know what? At this point, I really don't think I'm gonna do anything with this. I might as well, just start thinking about my real career, as a chef. But I want to still be involved somehow. Let me do it this way. I want to have fun. So Pancakes was born at Firestorm, NYWC.
Well, then there you have it. And again, I feel like it's almost again that poetic story there to be able to get from finding what it is you want to do, finding that love for it, and finding a way to still have that enjoyment in it. Because again, I feel like a lot of people, when they get into the business and they do this and they start to see, okay, what is the character I want to do? They lose that love for it because it almost becomes, which it is supposed to be a job, but you feel like that job sense that you want to just be like, it's just another day. But being able to find a character like that to be enjoyable and be able to enjoy not only what you're doing in there, but have fun with the crowd. It's definitely a great story to hear. Absolutely. And to find why this is the Pancakes we see today.
Absolutely. I feel like right now, a lot of that what's missing is emotion. Emotion in the ring, emotion with and I'm not talking about trying to get hyped up for a promo. I'm talking about putting your heart, your soul into a promo. Really, and it really comes down to really good acting skills. And in my opinion, guys like in my opinion, guys like Gangone, you know, I've always said, and I'm good friends with Gangone. You're good friends with Gangone. I've always said he's the fucking bad guy from Die Hard. You know what I'm saying? He is literally the best. You put him in a suit, I can guarantee he'll be the best heel. He's already he's already a great heel, but I'm going to tell you right now, Gangone is literally the bad guy from Die Hard. He's the one guy that's going to say, fuck you. This movie's not a fucking Christmas movie. You know what I'm saying? He's literally going to cancel Christmas for Die Hard altogether. I love him.
Oh, God. That's it. I got to tell him now. Next time, he has to wear a suit and just kind of promo.
I need him to wear a suit with like just like a handgun holster on. He's just but like he's just, in my opinion, a prime example who puts emotion into what he does. You know, him and I had a great match at SWA, and it was, in my opinion, such an awesome opportunity. You know, he's such a good friend of mine, and I really appreciated, him taking the time to really say, hey, I want to work with him. You know, and this is my first time as a heavyweight champion. I've never done this before, so it's like he's already, he's done this, and he's still a young guy, and he's still, he still has the freaking world, the world on his shoulders. He's going everywhere. He's everywhere right now, and thank God, because he's talent that is, in my opinion, right up there. Alongside with guys like, and I'm not kissing his ass, but Johnny Malloy, he's a good friend of mine, but like, in my opinion, he's got a great mind for this business, and not for nothing, he's a great wrestler. He's a great heel. He's a great storyteller as a promoter, a booker. He's, and I just, as a friend, he's just always, he's always looking to be more. He always puts professionalism before friendship, and he's always, when it comes down to business, what you got to do, and that's the biggest thing, But like, those guys are prime examples of when you put emotion into something that you do and that you love, that it's going to come out the way you want it, and it's going to come out the way it needs to be, because people are doing, they're going to say, this guy's got it, and he knows it, and he understands it. He knows what's going on within this world. If there's anybody that I can rely on, or I can make money on, of those people, especially who, as I said, emotion, feelings, it all ties into everything that you do. So.
Oh, definitely. And again, this is this art form, this craft, it is one that you need that emotion to get something. I always say, if there's not a reaction, at least, be it boo, be it cheer, just something, you want that out of the people watching, because it's entertaining. It wants to have that feeling of everything. So if you're not even showing emotion while you're doing it, it's hard for the crowd to want to react out of anything.
Absolutely. When I first got into the business, my first match, it was right before like they officially killed kayfabe. Like it was right before that, and we were all still trying to keep kayfabe, where I was the bad guy at all times, no matter where I was, around that area. Like, obviously nobody really knows who I was. I'm not going to be some asshole, the little old lady at the McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? It's like, do you know who I am? I'm Draven, you son of a bitch. I'll take a double whopper. Anyway, I'm not going to be like that, but like when you're around the area that you wrestle, and, especially during shows, you want to keep kayfabe as much as possible, because if people do just so happen in the fate of your life recognize you from, this guy, this place, that place, that's what was drummed into our heads, that, kayfabe. So we, as I said, that's what it was with us. Yeah.
No, gotcha, definitely. But here we go. Johnny Malloy again has to put some comments in there. He says, "How dare you drink on air? What do you think? You're Frank Sinatra or something?"
Fuck you.
Oh man. And
You ever notice it's crab cakes? I'm having crab cakes. Where's the camera? There you are. Crab cake.
there you go.
I'm not an official sponsor of them, but damn, their crab cakes are delicious.
There you go. Hit up Pancakes, guys. Give them a sponsorship there. But
Oh, please.
okay.
I need money. Give me money.
Hey, if you guys want as well, throw some dollars over here to the podcast. But
Damn.
so let's go from that now. We're there.
Scam!
We finally
Don't
find
do it. It's a scam.
we find out Pancakes. Pancakes is working. He debuts at NYWC. So now, how did you get to now feel this is what Pancakes is going to be now? How did you grow it into what are we now seeing as the longest reigning SWA Pride Heavyweight Champion?
Yeah.
How do we get to this Pancakes here? Because I can imagine it's still, at the start of it, it's not going to be all perfected. It's still going to be some kinks in there. So how do we get that evolution to the Pancakes of here of 2023?
All right, so we're gonna Johnny Malloy, you son of a bitch. Now I have to say it. Pancake Nightmare. That son of a bitch. I was part of a tag team for a couple of years in SWA called Pancake Nightmare. It was me and this guy named Nightmare. Him and I, we worked a number of matches together. No seriousness. I wish him well. We worked a number of matches together. Where we were pretty much, if there was a tag team championship at the time, we probably would have been in the running for that easily. We were just that over. We were really, really that over as a tag team, and I never really realized how over we were because me and Nightmare won on a daily basis. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's like, hey, so you guys are going to go over tonight. Oh, great. Can Pancakes die? You know, and stuff like that. But we were that over as a tag team. There was a brief time where SWA did shut down for a short little time for about maybe I think a year. Not necessarily shut down, but they took like a break for about a year. And then they came back, and unfortunately Nightmare was not involved. But I was, and I was ready. I was ready to go. You know, so we started working on Pancakes a little bit more. You know, and when I mean by working on Pancakes, I mean, just by like perfecting, what am I gonna do for like a move set, stuff like that. What am I do? I always thought it was cool that, guys like The Rock and Austin, they all have like catchphrases. So am I gonna have catchphrases? Am I gonna have slogans and stuff like that? And I do. It's crazy, it's pancake time, the Pancake Express, choo choo, stuff like that. The pancake party. It's all that. It's simple shit, but I utilize it and I use it in a way where it's going to stick to the back of their brains. And they're going to see me and they're going to be like, well, those are the things that are going to, it's going to help me build my character. Building my character is what was really, really important to me at the time. I wanted to be successful in this business. In some way, shape, or form. And I was willing to do whatever whatever it took to do it, without killing someone. But like it took a while for me to really get to know who Pancakes was. But then I realized, Pancakes is just it's the way your gimmick or your character or whatever your persona, whatever you want to call it, alter ego. That's practically what it is. It's an alter ego. You're a glorified life-size superhero out of the comic book. Clark Kent, Superman, Bruce Wayne, Batman. Eric Tan Pancakes. You know, seriously though, it's an alter ego that you really got to learn who you are in this business to really be successful, or at least as successful as you want to be, or as much as you can be.
Gotcha. No, definitely. That's why I asked how that evolution came to be, because I can imagine it's finding what it is you want that alter ego to be, what it is you want to portray out there, and it's found something that's very successful. Because again, every time I've seen it, the crowd is loving it. The crowd loves to be there, loves that party, loves once that song plays. That's it. The crowd knows it's about to be just a great time.
It really took a long time. It really did. It took a lot of hard work, and I really do consider Pancakes to be like my brainchild and my life's work. If you really want to look at it, like the Pancakes is my life's work. If there was anything that I've ever been successful with in my life, at least I know that Pancakes was somewhat successful in different ways. And I'm glad that I still today am still able to go out there and entertain everybody and just go out there and just be me, because at the end of the day, Pancakes, the one thing I learned about me is that I am Pancakes. It's just the bottom line. Pancakes, I eventually found out Pancakes are just me turned up to 1,000. You crank it up, you crank the tuner right up, man. Crank me up. It's like, pump up the music and shit like that. So it works out. So I like to go in there, and I love to dance. I love to, when I was a kid, I used to be a DJ when I was in my teens. I would go out and I would do weddings and bar mitzvahs and stuff like that. And I would be the guy out there doing the electric slide and the Macarena and stuff like that, and the Cotton Eye Joe. And that's what I did. So, I mean, that musical stuff started with me. I mean, on top of that, I was very musically inclined. I still kind of am, sort of. I was, if it wasn't wrestling, it was going to be music, but I love wrestling more. It's me turned up to 1,000, and that's the one thing young guys out there who are portraying these characters who, in my opinion, sometimes they just don't look so believable, and there's plenty of them out there, they really need to realize and find out who they really are for them to get to really be comfortable, not even just be successful, but be comfortable. Because it must really suck to go out there with such butterflies in your stomach to a point where you forget everything and you kick your own ass and you're falling down on your face and you're making the other guy look like shit. Just go out there and have a grand old time and have fun with it. Loosen up. Be you. Be you up to 1,000. That's all you got to be. Emotion.
There you go. No, definitely. That's again. It comes back to that. It comes back to the full force of emotion there. Well, let's go into this now. Let's talk about a show that we do have coming up in 2023 here. We have a date already confirmed for May. You'll be making a return here. You're going back to Full Faith Wrestling, which they're going to be doing an event here with the Wrestle Club. It's a whole thing going down on May 13th, Reborn 2. And tell us about your time with Full Faith. How has that been? With a little bit of an issue now with guys like the Result Zone and Joe Ocasio, but you and Mike Magnum, you guys are trying to fight back. You're keeping that positivity in Full Faith Wrestling.
It's funny. First of all, before we get into that, I just want to mention Johnny. Why is Johnny Malloy in front of me in that poster? Why isn't that my head? See, look at that poster. I look like Where's Waldo? I feel like, hey, how you doing? It's me popping up. Right in the background between Slimeball number 1 and Douchebag number 2. You know what I'm saying? I'm just kidding. No, but it did kind of look like it was just like my head popping up, like, stuff like that. Like Mortal Kombat style. You remember that back in the 90s? You got that little black and white coconut in the corner. Yeah, you know what I mean. She got it. He'll get it later. I'm sorry. What was the question again?
No, so let's talk about that. Yeah, you're coming back. It's coming back here. It's gonna be May. It's gonna be Full Faith Wrestling presents Reborn 2. So your thoughts on everything that's been going on with Full Faith. And like I said, you and Mike Magnum have been trying to almost fight back here with what Joe Ocasio and the Results Zone have been doing. So that's Joe, Anthony Gangone, you have, and then just again a stacked group there and what they've been trying to do to Full Faith Wrestling.
Right, retro fitness in themselves right there. I love Full Faith. I'm so happy Full Faith is coming back. I love working with Mike. Mike has been my friend for just as long as I've been involved in wrestling. We came up together in PWR, him, and Marty Flames. We all came up together. After a while, we all went our separate ways, but we really, if in my opinion, if it really wasn't for Mike, I don't think we ever would have came back together again. Me, him, and Marty, because he kind of was the reason why, he was the reason why I became an international champion. For him to build FFW the way he did, in my opinion, I respect the ever-living heck out of it. Just notice I'm saying heck.
You're starting to censor yourself for when we're talking Full Faith.
But he thank God for his, because he's been always such a good friend to me. He's always treated me with so much respect and so much love, and he's always been my brother, my family. We've always had each other's backs, and he knows that I'll always have his back. And I'll always take care of him when it comes down to, working in the ring, and he knows that I always give him 110% no matter what I do. He knows that I'm easy to work with. He knows that I'll always be, whatever he needs, I'll take care of him. Not a big deal. He gave me the opportunity to be international champion. He gave me the opportunity to be able to propose to my fiance live on stage, live on the show in the ring after everything had happened, and that's a gift. That was not something that he had to do. That's something that was a gift. Full Faith Wrestling. I love what we're doing there. I love what he's doing there. I love the fact that when he first approached me about it, I got so excited. I was just like, you know what, this could be something really cool, because I know Mike's got a brain for this, and he's got a lot of success in under his clout, and great for him. I'm happy for him. I'm so happy for him. Congratulations to him with all of his success, and I can't wait to see him when the next show comes around.
No, definitely same. Hey, I also have to say, with that show coming up, it's still in the air, still not confirmed or anything, but it looks like I'm in a front runner to become the next GM of Full Faith Wrestling. Last time I checked, that opportunity, no one else has cut a promo about. So who knows? I might be GM Ray Sanchez. Yeah.
I did watch your promo. That was really, really good, my friend. I told you, you have the voice like you. Your voice reminds me like Morgan Freeman sometimes. Like I could just fall asleep to it, like a creeper.
Thank you, Pancakes. But brother, I don't want to take up too much more of your time here, because I know, again, busy guy, especially with everything going on here. But I got one final question.
No, I'm actually quite lonely, Ray. Where are you going, Ray? Ray! Ray! This is probably the most entertaining show you've had in months.
I'm not gonna lie, this is the most I've laughed in a while doing this podcast. But I gotta let you go with this question here. and that is for Pancakes. What is the end goal?
The end goal. The end goal I want to say is to be able to end my story my way. You know, I am now currently the longest SWA Pride Heavyweight Champion. I was the very first FFW International Champion. I was the very first PWR Tag Team Champion. There's a lot of very firsts in my history. I hope that within the next couple months, maybe, let's get the TV. I want to get the TV. And you know what? To be honest, there's a lot of companies out there that I would love to be able to work with, Funhouse, even Hog. I would love to work with Hog. That would be an honor. But Titan, Funhouse, those are the guys I've been really wanting to really talk to, and really hopefully we can work something out. I would love to talk, get in contact with somebody. I know my story's not going to end too quickly. I still got a lot of energy, and I just drank an entire pot of coffee. So there's a lot of energy coming out of me. So the Pancake Express is just going to keep going, choo.
There you go. That's the best way to put it right there. I would play the song, but I don't want to get copyrighted, so we'll just play it in our heads here. Let's not get copyrighted here, because Six Flags will probably get me just for that being their official song. But Pancakes, thank you so much for joining me here. We definitely are going to have to do a part 2, especially once more shows are coming up, because I can imagine there's a lot more to say.
Absolutely.
And we're going to get some more pictures. I'm going to get you to send me some more pictures so we can just talk more of this great story. But I truly appreciate you for coming
I would
on.
love to come back. I would love to come back and tell you some more funny stories. I've got one there. Me and Mike Law. Mike Law thought that I was kicking a promoter's ass for pay. I was like, what? Anyway, that's a story. And then we went to Fuddruckers. We'll talk about that another time.
We're gonna have to do a part 2, because there's so much more I want to discuss. Maybe we'll do it right before that May show, before Full Faith. We'll get you back on here for another great time of stories. But guys, thank you so much for watching. Go follow Pancakes. Make sure you're following him on his social media. Stay up to date with all things Pancakes, and links will also be in the description down below. But as always, guys, thank you all for watching. As always, don't forget to be wise, be genuine, be real, be better people, respect the craft, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.